After a tumultuous couple of weeks and in the midst of a partial government shutdown, many in the media have been slamming the president, and that includes some conservatives who usually support him on television. I took that up with the host of Kennedy, which airs at 9 Eastern on Fox Business Network in New York. Kennedy, welcome.
Howie Kurtz.
Live and in person.
Glorious to see you in the flesh.
Headline in New York Magazine. Why Fox News made Trump shut down the government. So it's all your fault.
Thank you very much for that. There are massive swaths of the government that I would like to see shut down permanently.
Permanently?
Yes, we spend, government is too big. It's too intrusive. We spend too much money, and we are going to pass that bill along to generations who will be financially, economically hamstrung. And
so you were not terribly upset about this temporary partial shutdown?
I think it's clumsy, and I think this is the way they do business in Washington. No one really embraces their responsibility, and people in power say whatever it takes in order to get reelected, and that means giving out free stuff and making promises they can't keep.
Well, when the president was going to go along with the original compromise, you know, fund the government until February, kick the can, no funding for the wall, and he said he would take wall funding from other programs. You said on the air that is not okay, that is not the way government works, and we'd all be up in arms if Barack Obama did that.
Yes.
So why weren't
I agree with that. I think some of us who follow this a little bit more closely as far as government spending, because it's the one area that the real bipartisanship is the addiction to spending in both parties. And that's the big fear, is that they're going to come together and create programs, particularly entitlement programs, that really bankrupt us. We can't afford our expenditures right now. Imagine adding on to that, and having a president take money from here and put it over there at his or her whim. It's really not acceptable. And
interesting that you say both parties, because it used to be thought the Republicans sold themselves as the party of smaller government.
Yes.
But when you're in the White House, it's very tempting to add on the goodies and blow up the deficit.
And when you're in the House and
the
Senate,
Democrats do that as a matter of course.
Paul Ryan did the exact same thing, and I think it's laughable when he calls himself a policy wonk and a cost cutter, and someone who has a more astute eye for the type of limited government that he claimed to want to be in charge of, when in fact the deficit was larger. We owed a lot more money when he left than when he came into Congress.
But what about this whole notion that Trump reversed course and took us toward the shutdown because conservative commentators here at Fox and elsewhere, Raj and Coulter, are all powerful and told him that this is what you need to do?
Wouldn't that be great? That would be so much fun.
You would like that.
If I were the marionette, or no, I don't want to be the marionette. I want to be the puppet master. I want to be like Metallica, the master.
But does the president take it as a warning sign when some people on the right, who ordinarily support him, speak out, whether it's pull out from Syria or whether it's not funding the wall? In other words, is it because he responds to the pundits, or is it because he thinks the pundits might be in touch with the essence of his base?
I think that's probably it. I think it's the latter, because you have people who base so much of their opinion and worldview on people like Ann Coulter and Rush Limbaugh, because they have learned to not trust mainstream media sources, and they don't feel that, and I don't think that the mainstream media lies, and I don't think that journalism is dead, but I do think there are clues as to how they want to shape your thought, and I don't think it's dissimilar to the experience that a lot of university students have. And so they find people that they're more in line with philosophically and politically, like Rush and like Ann Coulter, and they tend to listen to them because they feel like they're getting an unfiltered, unmediated version of the truth.
There is no question that the president had a rough week last week. But what's your take on this media narrative? And it grows louder and more insistent every day that this president has produced utter chaos. You've got a government shutdown. You've got the impasse over the wall. You've got the Syrian pullout. You've got Jim Mattis stepping aside. You've got the stock market plummeting. It's all Trump's fault, and it's only going to get worse.
Well, if the president is going to take credit for a bull market, then he has to take some responsibility for a bear market as well. And I think he has a lot of factors sort of weighing against him right now. But the sky is falling, the world is ending, hair on fire, hysteria doesn't always serve us well. And, when he came into power, there were people who said that the economy was going to tank and that we were going to be in a nuclear war with North Korea.
That didn't happen.
No, that hasn't happened. And if you look at other metrics outside of the stock market, we are still in a great period of economic health and growth. And I think that's what the president needs to focus on. And it's tough for him to not be reactionary, because that is built into his temperamental casserole.
Right. All right. Tom Friedman, the liberal New York Times columnist, along these lines, wrote that he had not favored removing Donald Trump from office until last week. And he says, you have to ask whether we can really survive 2 more years of Trump as president, whether this man and his demented behavior are going to destabilize our country, our markets, our key institutions, by extension, the world. So as much of the liberal press now sort of just going for full-on impeachment, indictment, resignation, exile.
That's what they've been waiting for. They've been waiting for the dog whistle. And you'll see, they're usually in lockstep with their talking points, whether it's Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi or, members of the media who tend to have a more liberal point of view, is they've been waiting for the switch. They've been waiting for the signal to go full impeachment. And I don't think we should be there. I don't think that we should live in a country where if you don't like the person who's holding office, right, that we should just, extract them and throw them out, because that will happen in reverse when there's a Democrat that people don't like. And people
said that about the Clinton impeachment, and you're right. If we do this every 4 years, every 8 years,
and if you nominate someone like Mark Cuban or Michael Bloomberg or some non-traditional, or Oprah, God forbid, there may be skeletons in her closet, or she may be completely over the presidency after 18 months and might try to, and maybe that's what the president's doing. Who knows?
Well, maybe we should just nominate somebody who we in the media think is the most entertaining for our business.
It's been great. I mean, people ask me, what is it like to work at Fox? It's fantastic. It is so much fun because we're having conversations we've never had. And part of that is a reaction to the president. But I think that's one of the benefits of his presidency, is taking a non-traditional view of culture and politics and the economy. And there is some good in that. And we have to extract that good. And we have to encourage the president to go down that fruitful path and not the chaotic, annoying one.
Look forward to you co-hosting New Year's Eve. I'm sure it'll be wild and crazy.
It's going to be fantastic. Pete Hegseth and I are going to bring it.
All right, Kennedy.
Thank you, Harry.
Thanks so much for sitting down with us here in New York.
Thank you.